I was sitting in my favorite coffee shop on a regular Sunday morning, scrolling through Instagram like I always did. That is when I noticed something strange. Every single photo of me on my girlfriend's page had vanished. 2 years of memories, vacations, holidays, all gone. 37 pictures erased like they never existed. I thought it was a glitch at first, but it was not. And what I did next changed everything between us forever. Before I get into this story, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If you have ever felt invisible in a relationship, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you will want to hear how this one ends. I met Lauren 3 years ago at an art gallery downtown. It was one of those small exhibitions featuring local artists, and I had only gone because my coworker Derek insisted I needed to get out more. He was right, though I would never admit it to him at the time. Lauren was standing in front of a large, abstract painting. Her head tilted slightly as she studied the brushstrokes. She had this way of looking at things with complete focus, like nothing else in the world existed except what was right in front of her. When she noticed me watching, she smiled and asked what I thought of the piece. I told her honestly that I had no idea what I was looking at, but that it made me feel something. She laughed and said that was the whole point of art. We talked for 2 hours that night. She told me about her dream of becoming a content creator, how she had just started posting on Instagram and had about 5,000 followers. Her eyes lit up when she spoke about it, and I found myself drawn to her passion and energy. By the end of the evening, we had exchanged numbers. Our first few dates felt like scenes from a movie. We walked along the riverfront, at sunset cooked dinner together, at my apartment stayed up until 3 in the morning, talking about everything and nothing. Lauren made me feel alive in a way I had not experienced before. She was spontaneous, creative, and she seemed genuinely interested in who I was as a person. Those first 6 months were the happiest I had been in years. Lauren posted photos of us, constantly writing sweet captions about how lucky she was to have found me. Her followers loved our relationship, and honestly, so did I. I felt seen and appreciated in a way that filled something I did not even know was empty inside me. I started supporting her dreams in every way I could. When she mentioned needing better equipment, I bought her a professional camera and studio lights. I helped her set up a corner of her apartment for photo shoots, spending an entire weekend painting the walls and arranging furniture. Lauren told me I was her biggest inspiration, that she could not have done any of it without me. I believed her completely. Around the 1-year mark, I started thinking about our future together. I researched engagement rings, imagined proposing to her on a beach somewhere, pictured what our life could look like. I was certain she was the one. But looking back now, I can see the warning signs I chose to ignore. After our first anniversary, Lauren hit 50,000 followers. It was a huge milestone for her, and I was genuinely proud. But something shifted after that. She became busier, more distracted, always editing photos or responding to brand inquiries. Our conversations grew shorter, our dates less frequent. One evening, I took her to a nice restaurant to celebrate our 14 months together. I had made reservations weeks in advance and even bought her a small gift. But from the moment we sat down, she was glued to her phone. She photographed every dish from multiple angles, adjusted the lighting with a portable ring light she had brought in her purse, and spent most of the meal editing and posting. When I gently suggested she put the phone away so we could enjoy the evening together, she looked at me like I had asked her to cut off her hand. "You do not understand the pressure I am under," she said. "My followers expect consistent content. This is my job now." I apologized and told myself this was just a temporary phase. Her career was taking off, and I needed to be supportive. That is what good partners do, right? A few weeks later, Lauren mentioned she needed to upgrade her equipment again to stay competitive. The camera I had bought her was already outdated, she explained. Without hesitation, I offered to help. I purchased a new camera body for $2,000, along with several professional lenses. Then came the monthly studio rental fees, the subscription services for editing software, the props and backdrops she needed for different themes. One night, Lauren suggested it would be easier if she had a supplementary card linked to my account. That way she could handle work expenses without having to ask me every time. It made sense logically, and I trusted her completely. I went to the bank the following week and added her as an authorized user with a limit of $5,000 per month. At the time, I thought I was investing in our future together. I had no idea I was just funding my own erasure. By the 2-year mark, Lauren had crossed 200,000 followers. She was getting invited to exclusive events, partnering with major brands, and being recognized on the street. I was proud of her success, even as I felt myself being pushed further and further into the background. The first time she asked me not to come to an event with her, I tried to understand. It was a product launch for a luxury skincare brand, and she explained that her presence needed to align with her personal image. Having a boyfriend there might send the wrong message, she said casually while applying makeup. These brands want to see me as independent, mysterious. Having you next to me could diminish my appeal. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching her get ready for an event I was not welcome to attend. The rejection stung more than I wanted to admit, but I told myself it was just business. She still loved me. This was just how the industry worked. But the events kept coming, and I was never invited to any of them. Lauren would come home late smelling like expensive perfume and champagne, showing me photos of celebrities she had met while I had spent the evening alone watching television. I started feeling like a secret she was keeping rather than a partner she was proud of. During a lunch break at work, I finally opened up to Derek about what was happening. We were sitting in the company cafeteria, and the words just started pouring out of me. Derek listened without interrupting, then set down his sandwich and looked me straight in the eyes. "Brother, I am going to be honest with you because that is what friends do," he said. "You are being used. Lauren sees you as a source of funding, not a partner." I immediately defended her, explaining that he did not understand the influencer industry, that supporting her career was an investment in our shared future. Derek pulled out his phone and opened the calculator app. "Let us do some math," he said. "Camera and lenses around $4,000. Studio rentals for 12 months at $300 per month, that is $3,600. Her card expenses, I am guessing she hits that $5,000 limit most months. Plus all the other stuff you have bought her." He showed me the total. In just the past year alone, I had spent over $30,000 on Lauren and her career. I stared at the number, feeling sick to my stomach. But even then, I found ways to justify it. She was building something. We were building something together. Derek just shook his head. "When you are ready to see the truth, I will be here. But I am not going to watch you destroy yourself for someone who treats you like an ATM." I did not talk to him for 2 weeks after that conversation. My birthday arrived in October, and I hoped Lauren would take a break from her busy schedule so we could spend the day together. I did not need anything extravagant, just her time and attention. The morning of my birthday, Lauren told me she had a crucial photo shoot with a major fashion brand that she absolutely could not reschedule. "I am so sorry, baby," she said, kissing my cheek as she rushed out the door. "I will make it up to you tomorrow, I promise. We will do whatever you want." So I spent my 28th birthday alone. I ordered takeout, watched a movie I had already seen, and tried not to feel sorry for myself. Around 8 in the evening, my phone buzzed with a text from Lauren. It was a simple happy birthday message with a heart emoji. Nothing more. Out of habit, I opened Instagram. And there was Lauren not at a photo shoot, but at her friend Brittany's apartment. The story showed her laughing, holding a glass of wine, posing for selfies with a group of other influencers. There was no fashion brand. There was no work commitment. She had simply chosen to be somewhere else on my birthday. I called her immediately. She answered on the fourth ring, and I could hear music thumping in the background. The shoot ended early, so I just stopped by Brittany's for a little bit, she explained casually. I will be home soon, okay? I knew she was lying. The photo shoot had never existed. She had chosen a party over my birthday and had not even bothered to come up with a believable excuse. That night, I lay awake until almost 4 a.m, staring at the ceiling and wondering how I had ended up here. 2 weeks later, my older brother Marcus drove down from Portland to visit me. We had always been close, but I had been so wrapped up in my relationship with Lauren that I had neglected our connection. Marcus took one look at me, and his expression changed from happy to concerned. "You look terrible," he said bluntly as he hugged me. "When was the last time you slept properly or ate a real meal?" We sat on my couch and I found myself telling him everything. The money, the events I was excluded from, the birthday she had skipped. Marcus listened quietly, his jaw tightening with each new detail. "Joe, you are losing yourself," he said when I finished. "This is not love. Love does not make you feel small and invisible." I did not have a response, because deep down I knew he was right. He put his hand on my shoulder and looked at me with genuine concern. "You deserve someone who is proud to be with you. Someone who wants to show you off, not hide you away. Remember that." His words echoed in my mind for days afterward. But I still was not ready to act on them. I kept hoping things would change, that Lauren would realize what she was doing and come back to me. Then came the Sunday morning that changed everything. I was at my usual coffee shop, the one with the exposed brick walls, and the barista who always remembered my order. It was a beautiful fall morning, leaves turning orange outside the window, sunlight streaming through the glass. I should have been at peace. Instead, I was about to have my world turned upside down. I opened Instagram out of habit and navigated to Lauren's profile. Something felt different immediately, but it took me a moment to realize what it was. Her grid looked strange, more curated somehow. Then it hit me. Every photo that had ever included me was gone. I scrolled frantically, searching for any trace of myself. The trip to Big Sur, where I had proposed we take that winding coastal drive. Gone. Thanksgiving with my family, where she had charmed my parents. Gone. Christmas Eve, when we exchanged gifts by the tree I had spent hours decorating. Gone. 37 photos spanning 2 years of our relationship had been erased, like they had never existed. I convinced myself it must be a glitch. I closed the app, restarted my phone, and checked again. Nothing had changed. I searched for the specific photos I remembered typed in hashtags we had used, looked through her tagged photos. Every trace of me had been methodically removed. With shaking hands, I called Lauren. She answered on the second ring, her voice casual and unbothered. "What is up?" I tried to keep my voice steady. "Lauren, what happened to all the photos of us on your Instagram?" There was a pause, then a sigh. "Oh, that. I have been meaning to talk to you about it. I am rebranding my account, going for a more refined aesthetic. The photos of you just did not fit the new direction." I could not believe what I was hearing. "So 2 years of our relationship just did not fit your aesthetic." She made a sound of frustration. "You are being dramatic. It is just Instagram. It does not affect how I feel about you in real life. But the high-end brands I am working with now, they want to see a certain image. Consistency, sophistication, independence. Having a boyfriend all over my feed does not align with that. I sat in silence, the phone pressed against my ear, the sounds of the coffee shop fading into white noise around me. I still love you, she continued. This is just business. You understand, right? Anyway, I have a live stream starting in 10 minutes. We can talk more later. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The coffee in front of me had gone cold. I thought about Derek's warnings, about Marcus's words, about every time I had felt invisible in my own relationship. Lauren had literally erased me. She had looked at 2 years of shared memories and decided they were not worth keeping because they did not match her color palette. I had been deleted from her life, like an unflattering photo cropped out of her carefully curated existence. And in that moment, something clicked into place. If I did not exist in her world, why should she exist in my bank account? This was not about revenge. This was about fairness, about finally valuing myself the way I should have been valued all along. I left cash on the table and drove straight to my bank. The branch was quiet for a Sunday, only a few customers scattered around the lobby. A pleasant woman at the counter asked how she could help me. I need to remove an authorized user from my account and cancel her supplementary card, I said. She typed on her computer and pulled up my information. The card under Lauren's name. Yes. She looked at me with a knowing expression, the kind that suggested she had seen this situation before. Are you certain, sir? Completely certain. The whole process took about 15 minutes. 15 minutes to undo 2 years of financial entanglement. 15 minutes to finally put myself first. As I walked out of the bank, I felt lighter than I had in months, maybe years. When I got home, I started packing Lauren's belongings. I was calm and methodical about it, folding her clothes neatly, wrapping her fragile items in bubble wrap. I was not being vindictive. I was simply closing a chapter that should have ended long ago. Exactly 3 hours and 22 minutes after I left the bank, my phone rang. Lauren's name flashed on the screen. I took a breath and answered. The screaming started immediately. What did you do? What the hell did you do, Joseph? I could hear the panic in her voice, the fury barely contained. I was at the mall with Brittany, she continued, her voice climbing higher with each word. I tried to buy a bag, a $1,200 bag, and my card got declined. In front of everyone. The sales associate looked at me like I was some kind of fraud. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? I remained completely calm. I canceled your card, Lauren. You what? Why would you do that? I let a beat of silence pass before answering. You deleted me from your public life because I did not fit your aesthetic. I am just doing the same thing with my finances. Call it a financial aesthetic choice. She was quiet for a moment, and I could hear her breathing heavily on the other end. You cannot do this to me. You are ruining everything. No, I said. I am just choosing not to fund an image that I am not allowed to be part of. You wanted independence for your brand. Now you have it. She started crying, her sobs coming through the phone in waves. Joseph, please. I need that card. I have expenses, collaborations, things I have already committed to. You will figure it out, I said. You are a successful influencer, remember, 200,000 followers. Major brand deals. I am sure you will be fine without me. I ended the call. 2 hours later, there was a frantic knocking at my door. I opened it to find Lauren standing there, mascara streaked down her face, still wearing the outfit she had been shopping in. Joseph, please, she begged, pushing past me into the apartment. I am sorry, okay. I will put all the photos back. Every single one. I will post new ones. I will tell everyone how amazing you are." Her eyes landed on the boxes stacked neatly by the wall. "What is that?" "What are you doing?" I gestured to the boxes. "Your things. I packed them for you." She stared at me like I had spoken in a foreign language. "You are breaking up with me over some Instagram photos." I shook my head. "This is not about the photos anymore, Lauren. It is about everything. The $30,000 I spent on your career. The birthday you skipped to go to a party. Every event you told me I was not good enough to attend. Every time you made me feel like I was something to be ashamed of." "I was supporting your dreams," she protested weakly. "You were draining my bank account while pretending I did not exist." She opened her mouth to argue, but I held up my hand. "I do not hate you, Lauren. But I cannot keep loving someone who makes me feel like I do not deserve to be seen. Like I am only valuable when I am useful and invisible the rest of the time." I walked to the door and opened it. "I wish you well. I really do. But this is over." She stood frozen for a long moment, tears still streaming down her face. Then slowly she picked up the first box. It took her 3 trips to load everything into her car. She never said another word. When the door closed behind her for the final time, I stood alone in my apartment. There were empty spaces on the shelves where her things had been, gaps in the closet where her clothes had hung. The place felt bigger, quieter, but somehow, for the first time in years, I felt complete. The first few weeks were harder than I expected. The apartment was too silent without her presence, and I kept catching myself reaching for my phone to text her before remembering. Old habits die hard, especially the ones built on 2 years of routine. Some nights I questioned whether I had been too harsh. Maybe I should have given her another chance, talked things through, tried to work it out. But then I would remember the feeling of scrolling through her perfectly curated Instagram grid and finding no evidence that I had ever existed in her life. The doubt would fade, replaced by certainty that I had made the right choice. Derek became my lifeline during those early days. He showed up at my apartment the Saturday after the breakup with a gym bag and announced that we were starting a new routine. 3 mornings a week, we met at 6:30 to lift weights before work. The physical exertion helped clear my head, gave me something to focus on besides the emptiness. Marcus called more often, too. We talked about everything except Lauren, at first catching up on years of conversations we had missed. He told me about his job, his girlfriend, his plans to buy a house in Portland. Slowly, I started telling him about my own life, my hopes for the future, the things I wanted to accomplish. It felt good to have my brother back. I rediscovered hobbies I had abandoned during my relationship. I started reading again, working through a stack of books that had been collecting dust on my nightstand. I taught myself to cook Thai food from YouTube videos, filling my apartment with the smells of lemongrass and coconut milk. I went hiking on weekends, exploring trails I had always wanted to visit, but never had time for. Month by month, I began recognizing myself again. The person I had been before Lauren, the person who had gotten lost somewhere along the way. I realized how much of myself I had sacrificed trying to support someone who saw me as nothing more than a convenient resource. About 4 months after the breakup, I was scrolling through an online article about rising social media stars when I saw Lauren's face. She had partnered with a major cosmetics brand for a campaign. Her smile was flawless, her makeup impeccable, her feed probably more curated than ever. I waited for the anger to come, or the bitterness, or even the sadness. But I felt none of those things. I just felt neutral, maybe even slightly happy for her. Lauren was not a villain. She was just someone who had prioritized her ambitions over her relationships, who had gotten so caught up in building an image that she forgot about the real people around her. I hoped she would find what she was looking for someday. I closed the article and moved on with my day. Looking back on everything that happened, I have learned some important lessons that I carry with me now. Real love does not ask you to become invisible. If someone truly cares about you, they should be proud to have you in their life online and offline. They should want to show you off, not hide you away like a shameful secret. Supporting someone you love is admirable, but not at the cost of your own self-worth. There is a difference between being generous and being exploited. It took me too long to understand where that line was. Walking away is not failure. Sometimes leaving is the strongest thing you can do. It takes courage to recognize when a situation is hurting you, and even more courage to remove yourself from it. And perhaps most importantly, you cannot force someone to value you. No matter how much you give, how much you sacrifice, how hard you try, you cannot make another person treat you with the respect you deserve. But you can always choose to value yourself. I am still single now, and I am okay with that. I am not rushing into anything new. I have spent these past months learning to enjoy my own company, to be comfortable in my own skin, to love myself, without needing validation from someone else. When the right person comes along, I will be ready. But until then, I am complete on my own. So if you are watching this, and you feel invisible in your own relationship, if you feel like you are being erased or overlooked or taken for granted, I want you to know that you have the power to change your situation. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to put yourself first. You are allowed to delete anyone from your life who has already deleted you from theirs. Not out of revenge, but because you deserve to be somewhere you are seen, somewhere you are valued, somewhere you are loved the right way. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt invisible? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Your support means more than you know, and it helps me keep sharing stories like this one. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gave you something to think about, maybe even something that helps you in your own life. Take care of yourself, value yourself, and never let anyone make you feel like you are not worthy of being seen. Until next time.